Jeremy Cayetano nearby. I'm Jeremy Cayetano. Um, I am the daughter of the late Cannon Jerris Valentine. And I had to put that in there because he has always been a champion and an activist for everything Garifuna, the upliftment of the Garifuna people, the promotion of the Garifuna culture, spirituality, all of it. Um, my mom is Lorraine Valentine. From an from a professional standpoint, I worked in Dangriga for most of my life. I was a teacher at Stann Creek Ecumenical High School, and then I was the principal of Stann Creek Ecumenical High School. And beyond that, I'm now the general manager for Anglican Schools in Belize. And then while being principal of Stann Creek Ecumenical College, a gentleman came to the school. His name is James Cordis. And he said, my name is James Cordis. I'm a Garifuna from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I would like for Garifuna children to run in the Philadelphia Penn Relays. So that was like, we were all taken aback by that. Of
Mhm.
course, we had to share that the track team, if you're inviting the track team, is a track team. We can't cherry pick. But I understood where he was coming from, and we partnered on that issue. And then we got to know Mr. Cordis and his aims and his dreams for Garifuna people. And he was, and while we are working on getting the children over to the Penn Relays and all of that, we had other discussions. And his focus was taking the Garifuna language back to St. Vincent and the Grenadines,
Mm.
where it was born. Then the principals conference, the secondary school principals conference in St. Vincent and the Grenadines came up. And I got to visit St. Vincent and the Grenadines for the first time. And even though I was there from a professional standpoint, I was there as principal of Stann Creek Ecumenical High School. Something just happened when I was there. Like all that I had heard about St. Vincent just clicked. And for the first 3 days I was there, I am not going to lie to you, I was in perpetual tears.
Mm.
Just realization of who I am in the midst of all of that, the realization of what happened to our people. Anyway, on the third day, I got a call at the school. Now I'm like, who would know that I'm here? And who would want to talk to me that is not through my cell phone or whatever? And it was Mr. Curtis, and he said, I heard that you were there. You're in St. Vincent.
Mhm.
He reiterated all what we had spoken about before, and he was in theirs and I was in theirs on the phone. For our people, for our culture, for our language, for our legacy. How sad it is that every evidence that we owned there, that we live there, the home of our ancestors, has been removed, you
Mm.
know. And we, in that phone call, we created the Yurumein Project.
Mm.
I came back home, and there were 12 of us at our initial meeting because I called the teachers. I just called teachers and I told them what it was, and 12 teachers of Garifuna origin came to the meeting. And we started now. Along the way, I know you probably have questions. Just stop me when you're ready. But along the way, because we were preparing to go to St. Vincent to teach Garifuna,
Mhm.
we realized that we are going to teach a language that for some of us has eroded in our consciousness, and we didn't realize that. We thought that we were Garifuna speakers.
Mm.
We thought that. So we were training to be able to teach. So first meeting happened at Miss Avis Nicasio house. She was helping us initially. And this is the secretary at Stann Creek Ecumenical. And she said, all right, people, introduce yourselves to me in Garifuna. Tell me about who you are in Garifuna. Tagaru, trying to Yurumein. All right. So her said, this is where I work. So we didn't even realize. And
Oh,
then
wow.
that, further to that, we said, listen, right here in Belize, there is a need. Sorry, there's a need to teach this language right here. Understanding what Mr. Cordes is trying to achieve and accomplish in St. Vincent. But if we are not careful, the same thing is going to happen right here because we don't use our language every day. We realize
Mhm.
don't use it every day. And because we don't use it every day, we are losing it. And if we are losing, imagine our children.
Mhm.
And so we kind of tweaked what we're doing. We did go, and we plan to go again. Myself, Gwen, and Josh, we did a preliminary trek to St. Vincent, and we taught Garifuna in two schools: Garifuna Language, Garifuna Music, Garifuna Drumming, Garifuna Dance, in two schools, and we plan to go again. But majority of the work that we're doing and that we plan to do is right here in Belize. The wonderful thing about it is that I didn't realize that I was growing up Garifuna. I was just growing up in the space where I work now. I am conscious that I was growing up Garifuna. And the reason for that is everything about Garifuna Duo was loud and proud in my family, in my household. Everything.
Mhm.
Everything. My parents, both of my parents insisted that one, we would not have heirs. We would not have any kind of feeling of superiority to anybody.
Mhm.
But then we would definitely not have any kind of inferiority amongst anybody, right? So we learn to love humanity. Anybody from any ethnic group, we learn to love and embrace. But we also knew who we were, where we come from, and we were proud of that. Um, Two languages were spoken in our household, Garifuna and English only. Unfortunately, for the most part, it wasn't a requirement for us to respond in Garifuna, but we understand Garifuna fluently.
Mhm.
And sometimes you take what you consider to be the easier way out. If I knew then what I knew, what I know now, every answer I would have given would have been in Garifuna. But yeah. Um, so my father, like I mentioned before, was always a champion for Garifuna Duo. My dad and my mom were, well, my dad was one of the founding members of the Wari, I call it Wari Baga Baga. I think they call it Wariga Baga. But I'm just used to what I'm used to.
Mhm.
I'm used to saying it Wariga Baga dance group. And so we grew up going to practices, so we're familiar with with a lot of songs, a lot of I remember going home, there was a song that I liked from the practice. So we're walking home and I'm singing, and then my dad stopped me dead in the tracks. That is not a song that is sung by children.
Ooh.
Makam, Mane, don't let me hear you singing that song. But that's just to say that we were immersed.
Mhm.
Dinner table, we always had one meal together. That's the evening meal as a family. And when that meal was finished, my father would push his plate to the center of the table, and he would start to drum and sing.
Mm.
Either a Dugu song or a Punta song, or he would drum and sing. So we were immersed. My father baked cassava bread.
Mhm.
And we would, as a family, go through the entire. There were ladies from the community who would join. So as a family, we would go to the farm where and help get the cassava. They would bring it home, and then you know what they used to do? They used to have the grater, the eggy, and they
Mhm.
would knock the eggy and sing.
What?
We used to call it teremo egg. They're actual songs that go with cassava baking, and the only reason why I know that is because I experienced it.
What would you say to someone who is either, you know, totally can't speak or understand it, or halfway where they understand it but they
But they can
can't,
speak.
right,
I
have a
what
fluent
I would
conversation?
what I would say to those persons is you have to really want to, because if you want to, you make the effort. If you really, really want to. Sometimes we want something on the surface,
So we're not
but we're not take the
putting the
step
work.
to,
Hmm.
yes. I would tell that person that there's still many people in our community, sometimes they're right in our homes, who are fluent. We can turn them into our tutors, into our mentors, and we could have some very simple conversations with them to more complex, and ask them, how do you say this? How do you say that? And I'm sure that our Garifuna elders would be more than happy to welcome the conversation and to be that mentor and support. Secondly, I would encourage the persons, as soon as our Yurumein Project ads come out, join us, join a Garifuna class and get moving. And even beyond the class, whoever it is that you could find, because that was the way I became more fluent in talking to Dr. Gwen, in talking to my dad, in talking to my mom, in talking to, and then I don't like to feel embarrassed, so you have to come out right. Like if I'm talking to somebody like Baba Roy, I will do my absolute best. I translate it in my head, and then here I go, because I don't want shame. I don't want to be shame. Children, we have to make sure that we equip them so that they are equipped to
Hmm.
carry on from us. One of the things that we do as Yurumein Project is the honoring of the elders,
Hmm.
and we're teaching the elders how to. We're teaching the children how to honor older people, how to value what older people. And this is one thing that we are consistent with. Every year we have this honoring, and our elders really appreciate it. Aro for the hatu, or maestra, or what else we say? Um, Aro for the hatu.
Hmm.
I know there are other words. I'm trying to remember the other words for teacher, but yes.
Hmm.
Um, and that looks like Gulisi as well. Um,
Hmm.
we used to. We were the people, Garifuna people, educated this country.
I've
Belize was
heard that
educated on the
time and
backs of
time
the
again.
yeah,
Yeah.
and our it at a price to us as a people, because our um intellectuals left
Hmm.
to go and teach in other communities, so that left um gaping holes. One, two, families without the
Parents.
leader. So at a cost that we're still paying today, that one of the best things I do is teach. One of the best things I've ever done was teach. I can't necessarily cook well. I can't necessarily drive well. I definitely can't sew and sew. I can teach. And my students can attest to that.
Mm-hmm.
I would tell anybody wanting to be a teacher, you have to give yourself to your students, and you have to give it your all. Study as much as you can. A lot of us these days, we go to school because we want a bigger paycheck. That's another reason, or that is not the main reason. Yes, all of us need a bigger paycheck. I will say that. But You learn as much as possible so that you could be as effective as possible. Give yourself your own benchmarks. Make sure that all the parts of a professional, you can tick them off. You are punctual, you are planning, you are seeking advice from those who are doing it well, and you are putting that into practice. Give yourselves, your students, and your class, and you will not go wrong.